like there's not a lot of places. I mean, I don't find too many places out here to get these type of hairstyles.
I think that's wild. I think that's so crazy.
I know, because there's so many West Indians. I don't know. Maybe
that's the craziest thing I hear. Like, I don't think you've never looked.
That might be it. I'm just saying.
Typically, it is. You don't know what's there until you look.
Until you find it. Yeah. I mean, I always come here with my hair done, so I'm like,
exactly.
I don't need it, but yeah, I don't know. It might be out here somewhere. But anyway, so today I was reading something about, I guess, like being burnt out with juggling the work life, family life, social life,
right?
And just trying to, when is it time? When are you able to come home, kick off your shoes, and cut your mind off? Like, and get into mommy mode or daddy mode. People struggle with that, and as we all know, with that struggle comes, anxiety, strokes, depression, divorce, loss of friends. Like, there's a lot that comes from the pressure of everyday life and the pressure of, I want to be there for my family and my friends, but I gotta pay my bills.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. I don't think that's the mental burnout I was thinking. I was thinking mental burnout from all of it, because I'm mentally burnt out from thinking about paying my bills. I'm mentally 100%. Burnt out from my entire family. I'm mentally burnt out I'm mentally burnt out from just work in general. So what was the article talking about, a solution to mental burnout?
I mean, the article is just more so explaining the issues. Well, I'm sorry, but the article is more so explaining how the percentages in different countries of how these people are trying to juggle their lives and I guess their lapse of like disconnecting, not being able to disconnect when they get home. So a lot of it was like, when you go home, are you able to cut off that work phone and tend, make dinner, or whatever you do.
Tend to your family.
And they were just saying that a lot of people don't. Life is connected to you. You got this damn cell phone that our parents didn't have back in the day.
I think that's very true, especially, like you said, in the times that we're living in. And also depending on what you do for a career. I know in entertainment, a lot of things don't really turn off because people are constantly trying to make a deal, and those type of deals, when you work, whether it's music, TV, film, whatever, it could be something that you don't hear of until midnight. So yeah, when do you turn off? When do you say, okay, enough is enough, 2 a.m, I don't need calls from you? Like that type of, all of that is definitely a mental burnout. I think that leads to, like you said, the depression and all that sickness. But really, we gotta look at these companies that we're working for. Right. You know what I mean? I know I've worked at a company where they didn't care about our mental health. They didn't care how we were getting to work. They didn't care what we did after work. As long as we got there at 8 a.m. and we were, we stayed until they asked you to stay, whether it was 7 p.m. or 9 p.m. Sometimes I had friends who would stay at work at the office until 10, 11 p.m. and then they have to wake up and get back there by 8 a.m. So that mental burnout is so real. And then they wonder why you're not performing as well, why you're checked out. They wonder why, I can't feel your passion, because I'm in your passion all day. All I'm doing is thinking about your life or whatever that is. So that can definitely lead to mental burnout. So I believe, we got to look at these companies and start putting more accountability onto them. Like, hey, what are you going to do? Like, I know at one of the companies I was working at, they started having this thing where it was like a, what do they call it? Like a yoga, a mental happy hour type thing. And so they did it during lunch. Who wants to take their lunch? That was the problem for me. I never went. I was like, I can't support this program because you want me to take 30 minutes of my lunch and come do something that I need a 30-minute break during the day to do. You know what I'm trying to say? Like,
that was selfish.
That's very selfish.
that's them acting like they're trying to,
Yes.
you know, be in tune with their employees and things like that, but it's all bullshit.
It is all bullshit.
In my opinion, that was bullshit.
It's definitely a real opinion, and that is facts. It was all bullshit. Because yeah, those are the same people who still want you to stay there till 9 p.m. And then they may say like, hey, could you take your lunch and do a favor for me? Like, you know, I remember those days of doing things like that. And yeah, that stuff can slowly hurt you. It can break your, like I've seen people who literally leave the industry because they're so burnt out from working all day. Like they're like, I don't get a day off. Like I wake up at 7 a.m. and I'm getting text messages and emails. And I'm going to sleep at, 1, 2 with the same text emails, like people hit me up trying to figure out what's going on. So, I'm sure in other industries it's the same way. Like, I don't know how doctors, like, do they bring that work home? Maybe they do.
Definitely. I mean, we're not doctors, but definitely. I mean, I'm pretty sure they do their charting and all that good stuff when they get home, and
yeah,
they're getting calls, for one of their patients are in the hospital. So I think they go through that, and that's someone's life.
Right.
But I think, like you said, lawyers, I think all of these, every profession has, there's a realm of it where it becomes overwhelming, especially if you're someone who wants to do a good job.
Right.
And you take your job really
You're a people pleaser.
Exactly. If you're that, then you're always not always, but you're gonna have a hard time balancing because you're gonna spread yourself too thin.
Right.
I know for myself, working with my family, being on tour and being a background singer, and then on top of that, having the responsibility as being like a co-road manager, it would be times where it's like, okay, I booked all the hotels, I just did a show, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, such and such can't get into his room. I have to go back downstairs. I have to figure out, argue with the front desk lady, like, listen, ma'am, I sent the paperwork into you, blah, 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 blah. Get back up at 6 o'clock in the morning for lobby call and do it all over again.
No.
And a big thing that I've heard from guys, like, they would tell me, like, you're in love with your family. Like, that's your soulmate, like, your family. Because I work with them and things like that. And it becomes it can become a hindrance. And growing up in the industry, my mom was a manager as well, like, that was an issue. I could see she struggled with trying to balance being a tour manager for a big artist and then taking care of her daughter.
Right. As a single parent.
As a single parent. And I know there were times where she did, our parents are really good at, like, covering it all up. But I know there were times she burnt out. I know that there's been times where I burnt out. Like, yo, I don't want to talk to nobody today. Like, I don't want to talk to nobody. Don't call me. So, and that goes back to where you feel like you can't cut it off, though, because if that's what pays the bills, it's like, yo, I need you.
And life doesn't stop. That's just what it is. Stop. I mean, when someone passes away, when anything, like, their bills don't stop. Obviously you can call and make sure that people know, but yeah, life doesn't stop. And I think that also kind of brings me to, like, even pressure in social, like being pressured to go out and be social, like pressure to hang with your friends, like when they're like, I never get to see you, like, where are you, like, you know what I mean?
When they become upset with you, like, I've been calling you or whatever, and it's like, I'm not ignoring you, but that was when you were calling. I was either handling something or I was taking me time. I was getting my hair done or whatever. So you do have that because.
Are you saying that about me? Like when I call you and you're like, and I'm like, Tanisha, like, why do you pick up the phone? Like, I'm calling you about work.
No, I mean, because I feel like I can be pretty. I feel like I can be pretty honest with you. Because you have to have, you gotta have friends that you can be like, I just didn't feel like it.
Yeah, I didn't feel like answering the phone. That's cool. And then when they hit you, see, this is where the social pressure gets you, right? Then when they hit you with, but I just saw you post on Instagram.
Well, bitch,
that was my me time.
That was my me time. And I was in my bed. Like, come on now, that literally, that's like a click, right? But look, those are the things that people are struggling with. And then when you're reading an article where they're talking about Singapore, Japan, and all these other places, that's when you see that although we're different, we're all alike.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
We all get distracted by things. We all have lives. We all want to please, whether it's our family, our relationship, our friends, our work. You know, those are things that we want to make sure are good, right? Like we want to make sure they're in good places. You know, even relationships, that pressure in relationship.
Yeah.
When you are burnt out from work, right? You saw your friends, you spent too much money at dinner that night, and then now your man, he wants to come over and cuddle, or you know what I'm saying? Or you like, man, I haven't seen him in a whole week.
Right.
So you're like, it's day 8, I need to go visit my man. Like,
and when life becomes a chore, like you really like the person, but because you're so busy, you're like, damn, I gotta go see him. It's not him.
Yeah.
It's because you're burnt out.
It's because you're tired.
It's because you're tired and you just want to nap. And you fall asleep on a person, and that can ruin the whole day.
Or just say, hey, like, can I see you this weekend?
I feel like people need to become more comfortable with being honest.
Yes. I think so too.
Yeah, and being comfortable with saying no.
Yeah.
And I don't know the recipe for saying no to your boss. That's a whole nother ball game. Because
I think it just depends on what the situation is.
Okay.
Like, if somebody says, like, if you have a job that is on call, maybe, or I think on call they have to go.
You have to.
I don't know.
But that's still your shift.
Yeah, because that's like my friend who is a nurse. Shout out Deli. My friend who's a nurse, like when she's on call, she has to be there, right? But I think it just depends on what it is. Like, I know that I've been given projects and you have to do them, but let's say in a sense of you can say, hey, I have a lot on my plate. This is what I have on my plate. I can't prioritize what you have. I can't prioritize this because I have these 3 other things that are on deadline or something like that.
Right.
So I don't know, but there is
I know. So this is the pressure, right? Because what ends up happening is you tell your boss or the higher up, listen, I have these 2 things going on that you've asked me to do, and now you're asking me to execute this, and I can't do that. Sometimes people will take that and say, oh, you just can't handle the pressure.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's not what it is.
No. It's like, I have 15 things on this list. What do you want me to do?
People think you're a robot. They literally think you're a robot. They like, you should be able to do it. Stay up all night and fucking do it. Yeah. So I think for that is why it's so much like the issues with mental health is becoming. I mean, it's been an issue, but it's like over the top. And now that mothers are not staying home with their children. Mothers are out here, they're CEOs and they're working and they're killing it in the game, which is amazing.
Right.
But now the children, right, yeah, that's great. Now the children sometimes are, the children have to fly clothes, nice shoes, play all the sports, and they're doing all these great things. But they're not being fulfilled at home as far as with an abundance of love.
Love and affection. Yeah. I think that's why you got some of these crazy, unaffectionate, unempathetic, like I don't know if that's a word, but like non-empathetic individuals, you know what I mean? Like they don't know what that is to be understanding sometimes.
Yeah, they almost just think like, hey, I have something to do and get over it. The balance of the life, the pressure, yeah. Basically telling somebody, hey, I have X, Y, and Z, and like, either you're gonna hop on the treadmill or not, but honestly, I don't care. That's how a lot of people come off these days. I know that's how I can come off.
Right.
And I even sat back and said, well, damn, that was kind of. I don't like when people do it to me. So I try to identify, like, that's not cool. Because I used to be like, yo, I'm on tour. Like, I probably won't see you for another whatever. Or I was too busy to call you back because, and I am busy, but no, you make time for things. You try to make time for things
that you want to make
time for. But
definitely. How do you ever feel in pressure in family though? Like being that you do work with, I don't work with my family in any form or fashion, but you work with your family, and I know me personally, in the past and even presently, we've tried to work with your family, me working with her family, and it doesn't work for me. So what is the pressure like for you working with your family?
The pressure for me is I have a hard time saying no. And if somebody drops the ball, I'm typically the one that's gonna pick it up. Somebody gonna call me like, yo T, you gotta do X, Y, and Z or whatever.
Yeah.
On one hand, I love it. Like, I like being reliable. I
like being the go-to.
I like being the go-to until I don't like it.
Until you got too much on your plate. Until you got a full, like, double fisting.
Exactly. Then I'm like, I can't do this. This is too much. I'm frustrated. I'm annoyed now. But yeah, doing things with your family, listen, it's not, that shit ain't easy.
I know it's not, because I've worked with different people who have maybe celebrity fathers, celebrity grandfathers, whatever that is, celebrity spouse. And it is so hard working with them when their family finds out that they're doing something outside of the family. It can be very hard working with them. I always say, I'm not gonna do it because it's a little too much. It gets a little too messy, and to me, it's just not worth it. Because family's always gonna win. You know, you're never gonna win if you're not family. That's just how it goes.
It's a hierarchy, and I think that, because my family's in entertainment, so I can understand that. But I think in any business, whether your family owns, the Hiltons or whatever, but there's like this whole hierarchy thing where it's like, if this person says you have to do it, then you gotta do it, whether it be the oldest, whatever, whether it be the head honcho, whoever, they said you gotta do it, so you gotta do it. And yes, that shit can become frustrating.
But like I said, it's more so, I'm speaking of people, because not everyone is the son of a celebrity or the daughter of a celebrity. I'm speaking of someone who, like myself, we are working with families of celebrity families or whatever, right? And they have so much going on in their family, right? Like they got, like you said, the hierarchies that are their inter-family hierarchies, which have nothing to do with the outside person. They're just trying to bring you an idea, money, or something like that. Like, no one can bring in what you don't allow them to bring in. Right. So that's just I'm just saying from my perspective, like the pressure to work with a family sometimes could be a lot of pressure, because you feel it, like you feel like they're all judging you. You feel like your ideas maybe aren't good enough. And then whenever maybe you're denied of something, you're just kind of like, okay, you know what? This is a little too the barriers to entry were a little bit too difficult and not worth it. That's what it is. If it's not worth it because you're not getting anything out of it, there's no check, there's no nothing. Me, I work for the check. You feel me? So it just has to be. It has to be more than that. So I think there's just there's just a lot of pressure in that. So, but I can see that, because I see you deal with it. And a lot of times I don't say anything because that's just not my business. Right. But yeah, I would agree that, we talked about this earlier. I would agree that sometimes you say yes to things when you're probably like, you probably should be doing other things with yourself.
Yeah, no, 100%. I would say that about myself. Yeah. So, and that's something that's very relatable, because once again, whether it be, a family member, or whether it be your boss. Yeah. Or even your husband.
Or your boyfriend.
Yeah.
Your girlfriend, whatever.
Your girlfriend.
You like.
Right. It can be just sometimes too much. And when it becomes too much and you're too afraid to say, okay, wait. let's just stop. Let's just But
sometimes you can't say that. Like we said, sometimes you can't say that. You either just have to leave, like keep it going. Like in a job, when you feel like the pressure is too much, you're not appreciated, you're not valued. Guess what we do? Typically, we leave.
Right.
That's just how it is. That happens in a lot of businesses. Whether you are a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher, what I'm trying to say. Whatever. It's like if you don't like it, if you don't feel appreciated, it's time to go. You know what I mean? Like it could be like that. So I don't know if there's a solution to that burnout pressure. You know what I mean?
And that's what I've been thinking about sitting here. I'm like, well, what is the solution? Because we do know we have to keep going. That's just without saying, right?
Yeah, like bills don't get paid themselves.
Right. Kids don't get fed. Like these are things that we know, but how can I guess America, because that's where we live, how can we do better with helping people with their burnout, with their mental state? There is something they can do for these people, you know, for us, you know, so that you don't feel completely overwhelmed and anxiety. Anxiety is at an all-time high, you know?
Yeah.
You feel anxiety when you're just walking through the door having to cook dinner for your kids. That shit has you feeling like crazy. And you're like, this is something that I'm good at, or I used to enjoy.
I don't know that feeling, but I do know that, you know, people have that feeling even on social media. I don't personally feel that because I like to have fun with mine, but I know people who being an influencer is their full-time job, and they feel that pressure. They're like, oh my God, what is wrong with this post? What is wrong with they always hit us with the algorithm. It's the algorithm, y'all. And they'll be like, I only got 1,200, you know, likes on here when normally I get 15,000 or something like that. So,
that adds to it.
Yeah. That adds to that pressure.
Yeah, that adds to it. Wanting to impress people, wanting to live this lavish life as if you're not, you know, an everyday human being. Like you're not going, you know, listen, it's nothing wrong with posting good pictures and traveling. Like I love all of that. But when you're putting like, oh my God, I didn't get enough likes, it's like, in my opinion, I would tell you, chill. Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah, I would say maybe you just need to delete it and repost it or something. Post it another time of the day. I have no clue.
I don't know, yeah. So I don't know.
I don't get that many likes, so I have no clue, guys, what the schedule is like.
Right. I mean, and it doesn't really matter to us. You know, we live in our lives, and we want to be real on all platforms. That's
exactly.
who we are.
And that's what it is. Like, I'd rather live a real life, happy life, which I do, than act like I'm happy online and act like everything's dandelions. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would much rather live a happy life in real life and know that I got it going on. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need the reassurance of social media to know that I have it going on. So, I mean, I think, again, the pressure, I think it even just dates back to us being, again, whenever we were able to start kind of showing off what we have, you know what I mean? I think that just dates back to trying to keep up with the Joneses, trying to, you know, there's so much. When we find a solution, y'all, we're gonna come back to y'all. We're gonna figure it out together. And if you guys have a solution to the mental burnout that happens within our daily lives, within work, family, this could be school, this could be whatever this is, you know, let us know. Let us know your opinions. Write us in the comments.
Share your story.
Yeah,
because I think
share your story.
Yeah, share your story. That's what helps. Me too. That's what helps people. That would help us. Like I said, we're working young women out here, and you know, I want to know the secret sauce, if there is a secret sauce.
Seriously.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us on this High Thoughts. I am Tonisha.
And I'm Leah.
All right, y'all.
Tune in later.
Hey.